Welcome to another episode of An Hour In, the show that takes a game for 1 hour and determines whether or not I would put more hours into it. Sometimes it's a game I've played before, and I'm just trying to determine where I actually feel about the game or how I actually feel about the game, and sometimes it's a game that I've never played. Today, I've got to talk about Dead or Alive. Part 5. So I was asked to explain myself about something that I had mentioned in the last episode. The last time I talked about Tekken 7, and I got asked a very specific question. What do I mean when I mention choppiness? Well, there is an actual thing I'm talking about. And I decided to talk about Dead or Alive 5 because not only can I talk about it and review it very easily, this is not necessarily a review show, keep that in mind anytime you watch one of these episodes, this is just an hour impression about the game. It is more than likely not a review, it's more than likely not going to give you that kind of perfect idea. But, that being said, Dead or Alive I know a lot about. And I figured I would pick Part 5 because Part 5 is a game that is free. You don't get the whole game, but you can download Core Fighters anytime you would like to check out what Dead or Alive is about for free and try it for yourself. So you literally don't have to take my word for it. You can hear what I have to say here, and then you can experience it for yourself. Why do I feel? Because I mentioned this in the other episode. I mentioned that for me, the best fighting system that has ever been introduced in a video game to this day has been Dead or Alive. Now, I am fighting an uphill battle here. Because when we talk about Dead or Alive, I have to get past the main selling point of Dead or Alive. The selling point, the reason so many people got involved with Dead or Alive was because Dead or Alive featured a certain aspect of the female anatomy and sold it very well. And it was because of this that they kind of got themselves put into a situation where it's very hard for them to prove themselves as a fighting game at this point. But I'm here to tell you, they are. They very much are a fighting game. Not just a fighting game, but one of the very best that has ever existed. There is no cheap in Dead or Alive. And I'm going to talk about that right now. You ever found yourself in a situation of cheap? A situation where you're stuck in a corner and they will not let you out of that corner? Have you ever been slammed against the wall over and over and over again and you can't do anything about it? Have you ever been literally grabbed and cradled to death in a single attack? Have you ever found yourself in a situation where they spam the same freaking attack over and over and over again and you can do nothing about it because you can't get close to them because it's always tiger, 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 uppercut, tiger knee, tiger, 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 tiger. Does that get old? Does it? I'm sure it does. I'm sure it very much does. But in Dead or Alive, that is not a thing. Dead or Alive has the fighting triangle, and it is absolute, and it should be included in every fighting game that exists, period. There are three main actions. There's attack, block, grab. If someone is attacking you, block. If they are blocking, grab. If someone is grabbing at you constantly, attack. That's it. It's that simple. It's a literal freaking RPG-esque triangle thing for fighting games. And the fluid nature of Dead or Alive makes this one simple idea unbelievably important. It turns fighting into a chess game. Now, there's a reason for this. The game is fast and fluid. And every time you do an attack, it is not very hard to do more attacks. You will string together high and low attacks with ease. There are moves of like 7-hit combos that are as simple as hold back and continue to push the Y button. Yeah, that's real. Dead or Alive has a grab system that works. There's a running grab, there's a backing up grab, there's a holding forward grab, there's an up grab, there's a down grab, there's a low grab. There are characters that can grab you while you jump. There are characters that can grab you if you're laying on the floor and pick you up or cause other kinds of damage. Then comes to the attacks. The attacks are high and low and fast, and they don't mess around. You can attack from forward, or if you are turned around, like some characters, like one that is very, very good at this is Ayane, you can attack from behind. You're not offset. If somebody gets to the side of you, yes, there is sidestepping in this game. It is full 3D. You can step to the side, dodge an attack, and then throw yours. Those kinds of things are still there. But your characters are responsive. If somebody jumps over you, which is a thing, if somebody jumps over you, you can attack from behind you. You can throw an elbow or do a kick or whip around real quick or even create attacks that are spinning attacks. These all exist. Attacking is incredibly versatile. Grabbing is incredibly versatile. But it's not over yet, because blocking is incredibly versatile. This is the game changer. This is the thing that makes Dead or Alive something to remember. When you block, there's standard blocking, which is just hold the block button. There's holding block while ducking, which will of course block lower attacks and allow you to be able to duck so that if somebody's grabbing high, you can actually dodge that grab and attack back. Now, here's where things get really crazy. Just like in other games where you can use frames to your advantage, if I attack and you attack, certain attacks will negate other attacks. That's important because you start to learn things like while your punches might be more rapid against somebody that's using those rapid punches, maybe you need to keep them at a distance and use those kicks, right? Okay? Sometimes you throw a kick and they throw a kick and one of the kicks is going to win over the other kick. This is all basic in fighting games in general. But if you're talking Dead or Alive, there's an extra added layer here. There are fake attacks, literal attacks that do no damage. They're just there to look flashy. They literally set up for bigger, better attacks. That's important because sometimes you're going to want the enemy to think that you are attacking because it tricks them into blocking. Then while they're blocking, you immediately switch to grab and you grab. But grabs are versatile in this game. If I grab you, and you know that that's what I'm doing, you can grab as well, and you can get out of that grab. Yes, that's right. Any single grab in the game can be countered. So if I grab and you grab, you can reverse my grab or get yourself out of it. And sometimes those reverses can be a big deal for you because if I'm putting you in a certain kind of grab, you may end up behind me. And then I'm in trouble. But we're not done. Dead or Alive takes the chess idea of fighting and puts it to the limit. Because every time I attack you, there is no cheap attack. Say I'm a sweeping kind of guy. I just got you in the corner and this is Mortal Kombat 2 and it's complete bullshit. And I'm a sweep kick 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 and counter me. Not with an attack, with a block. There are different kinds of blocks in this game. There's back and block. There's just your standard block, which will negate damage. It'll dink, 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 and you'll block me. But there are reversal blocks, where if you hit back and block when somebody's doing a mid-range punch, you will catch that punch and then turn that attack back on them. If someone's throwing a high kick, you can hit back and diagonally up and block. And you'll block high, and you'll reverse a high attack back on them. You'll like catch their foot and kick out their leg, and now they've ended up on the ground. And then when they're on the ground, they'll think, well, I'm going to sweep this dude as I stand up. And they go for that sweep kick. So here's your chance. That's diagonal back and down and block at the same time. And you will block low with a reverse. It gives you a small window. Your person will go, ah! And for that moment, when your hands go up or whatever, you are vulnerable. If you did it at the wrong time, because this still gets even more tricky. When you block at the right time and you intercept an attack, you'll reverse that attack. All mid kicks are forward and block. Mid punches, back and block. All high attacks, back diagonally up and block. All low attacks, back diagonally down and block. Now, you got a lot of versatility here. But let's say you get a little block happy and you're talking about hut, 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 and you just keep doing that stupid thing in front of the enemy. If you're blocking, that second that you thought that I was going to attack and you hut, you're standing there now completely vulnerable. I'm going to grab. And you can't do anything about that because you're blocking. The triangle works, and it works very well. There is no moment where you're stuck in a corner and the guy just keeps spamming this one stupid heavy punch thing that got you stuck in the corner. Just block the punch. Figure out, are you getting hit mid? Are you getting hit high? Are you getting hit low? Stop it. Reverse it. But we're not done because a lot of characters, all characters in fact, have types of feints where they can do attacks that don't actually go anywhere that trick you into blocking. At that moment, I'm going to grab. That's absolutely brilliant. That's absolutely brilliant. There are grabs that don't actually do anything on purpose. There are blocks, there are counters with characters that do nothing more than set up for major combos. Like Le Fang is absolutely perfect for this. You make an attack, she will grab your leg, switch you around so that you're behind her, and then go into like a 15-hit combo. And trust me when I tell you that pulling off combos is not rocket science in this game. You do not have to be the greatest frickin' person in the world. You do not have to have played this game as much as me to pull off the combos that you see on the screen. You don't, because this game is incredibly fluid. There are so many different attacks. Do 3 punches and a low kick. Do 3 punches and a straight kick. Do 3 punches and a high kick. Run and kick. Run and punch. Run and grab. That's a real thing. But then, as if the game hasn't done enough for you, as if you don't have enough to think about, as if the chess game isn't big enough, the environment is a part of the game. Sometimes, and I'm not talking about just the way it looks, the environment is a big deal. Sometimes you are higher than the other person. Sometimes you are lower than the other person. Sometimes you are on an actual incline. Sometimes you can get hit into a wall and it deals electric damage. Sometimes you can get hit into a wall and you will go through it. Sometimes you can get kicked over a barrier. That's not a ring out. That takes you all the way down. You receive damage for not watching your surroundings and putting yourself in that situation. You hit the ground, you get back up, you took damage from hitting the ground, and now you just keep on fighting. Maybe you've been seeing that if you've been watching up here while we've been playing. But look, the other part of the environment that's crazy is that you can use it as well. Certain grabs interact with the environment. If you've been watching, there are times when I do a type of grab and it throws them into the wall in a different way than it would if they were not next to the wall. There are characters that can interact with the wall that can literally jump off of it. It is ridiculous. The environment is something that you can think about and you can utilize. The attacks are something you think about and you utilize. It never, ever, ever, ever has you in a situation where there is not a way to think tactically during the fight. And that sets this apart from so many other fighting games. It makes it easily one of the best fighting games to have ever existed because every single thing you do in the fight is tactical. You have to think 2-3 steps ahead if you're going to win. It's misrepresented because the advertising of this for so long has been bikinis. I'm not going to lie to you. Bikinis and sexy outfits are in this game. And that's not just on the women's side. The men have the same thing. It's the men will even wear things like Speedos and shit like that, or like mesh shirts where you can see all their pectorally muscles and things. That's a real thing too. But there's also a goofiness and a fun to this. Zach will dress up in a Teletubby outfit, and it's ridiculous and it's awesome. And if you taunt, you could turn the little light on. It's so ridiculous and fun and neat to do. There's Ginfu, where he actually wears this sweet Raiden hat, and he can do things like there's actually a taunt where he'll throw it off, or you can actually have it knocked off, which is kind of cool. The women have different things like where they can put their hair up and they can get knocked out to where their hair, like the band breaks and then their hair. So certain outfits will take damage. The swimsuits actually have this thing where sometimes they'll take damage and the strap here will break and then they're kind of hanging a little bit. You can do that stuff. But you can also do ridiculous stuff like you can be Leon and wear a gladiator's outfit. Like a literal old-time Roman frickin' gladiator's outfit. And it's ridiculous. And you just want to do it because it's so ridiculous. There's a suit for Bayman where he wears the full scuba gear, including the flippers. And actually, he has a kick that he does where he lifts his leg up and does like an axe kick. And if you're wearing that costume, you get slapped with the flipper, and it is funny. It is funny. It is enjoyable. It is fun. It is goofy. It is worth doing. I love Dead or Alive. It's not even a question here. Would I put more hours into this? Of course I would. I downloaded Core Fighters just to play it for an hour. So if I have to say something against it, we're going to say something against it. Because there is. The free version comes with 2 random characters. I don't know exactly what one you're going to get. I don't know which of the 2 that you're going to get. You could get either of the 2, to be fair. Sometimes I've turned it on and I think I've had like Jan Lee and another character like Jan Lee and Tina. And then another time I've turned it on. This time when I went to play it, I had Kasumi and Ayane. I want to say that switches, and every month they, or at least if I remember right, it used to be every month they would give you another character. But look guys, this game is so good. Just pay. It's like $34 right now on Steam, and I think it may even be cheaper than that if you get it for like a PlayStation or something like that, or if you find it on the Xbox. This game is magnificent. I'm telling you, it is one of the greatest. It is the best fighting system I have ever seen in a 3D fighter to this day. I have never seen anything better. It is fast. It is fluid. You never feel like you don't have control of a character. You never feel like you're in that position where I was, where I started in Tekken and I did like 2 hits, like one punch, 2 punch, and then they just stop abruptly. They're just done. They're done fighting. Doom, doom, and then they're standing there for a second, and then I get grabbed or kicked or something like that. You don't throw 2 kicks. 1 round kick, or like one straight kick, and now I'm done. I'm done kicking. I gotta wait because my character has to go back to fighting stance. You never, not that it doesn't exist. You will do like a 3-hit combo sometimes with somebody, or like Bayman or Bass has this move where he like throws 1 hit, then he throws another big hit, and then he stops for a second. But you never feel like you are not in control of the situation. And it doesn't take long to string together massive combos with every character on that board. Every single character that you are given the rights to. And its guest characters make sense. They got Virtual Fighter for guest characters in this game, and it works really well. The Virtual Fighter characters, I would argue, actually work better in Dead or Alive than they did in their own game. That's real. Also, I will tell you that the other character that they got made a lot of sense as well. They got Mai Shiranui from Fatal Fury, and she looks great in this game and is easily my favorite version of the character that I have ever seen. In fact, I would tell you that for all that Dead or Alive gets with the softcore porn crap where people basically try to make it out to be that's all the game is basically bikini girls fighting, not true. I would tell you that she looks more realistic and more like an actual person in this game than she ever did in her own game. Dead or Alive has an aspect to it that has sold the game, and it's not going away anytime soon. And yes, it is very true that they're selling costumes like on a monthly basis, and that those costumes at $3, at $2 to $3 a pop can really add up like crazy. And it's also true that the season pack is like $100 for a season pass, and that there's been like 12 season passes. And yes, you could spend a ridiculous amount of money on this fighting game, but it's never required. It's never required. It's never one of those situations. Aside from getting a character, I'll say that you want to get she may have cost $5 back when the game had first come out, and then she came out and it was like $5.99. And yes, I bought those characters. I did. I bought every one of the special characters because I wanted them. And for the amount of time that I put into this fighting game, they were more than justifiable DLC. The other stuff is aesthetics. Most of the time, a lot of these costumes come down to like $1 or something like that. And then sometimes, if I'm messing around or something like that, and I happen to have $1 left on my account after buying something else or whatever, I may have spent the $1 and bought the costume. I did buy costumes for this game. I did invest a good deal of my money. I never bought a season pass. But I will tell you that if you buy a season pass, especially with the fact that there's almost new costumes every other month, like you're getting a lot for that season pass. Not that it's worth it necessarily. $100 for some costume DLC is still $100 for some DLC. It's still pretty stupid in terms of you bought a bunch of costumes. Okay, good for you. But I could make the argument, we could make the argument, since this is a gaming idea and we're talking gaming right now, is there really that much of a difference? You're playing a fighting game. What do you do in the fighting game? You fight. That's pretty much the only thing you do. Sometimes you fight online, sometimes you fight with friends, sometimes you fight the computer for a good hour, sometimes you're in training mode, sometimes you'd like to see a different costume. So you get the different costume, right? Did you have to grind for that costume? Not necessarily, no. You just paid the money and got it. Now, let's put the counter argument. Say you play Final Fantasy XIV. Say you've already beat the story. Say you've done what there is to do. What are you doing now? Grinding for dumb shit? That's what you're doing. Look, guys, I'm not making fun of your game. I'm telling you that's what you're doing. There's no difference between the two. I'm grinding to get more experience in the fighting game. You're grinding to get more experience in the RPG. How do we do that? I'm learning combos and abilities and teaching myself to adapt and react to the way the other people are playing so that I can get better at interpreting or forcing them to make the moves I want them to make so that I can do what I want to do. Well, at the same time, you know what you're doing? Almost the same thing. You fight that boss, the same boss in the same dungeon over and over and over and over and over till you get to a point where you can lightning speed run that boss. Isn't that what you're doing? Aren't you grinding over and over and over again? And after a while, you may get a costume. But here's my point. If I play that fighting game for an entire year and get better and better and better at it, I don't have to put a dime into it. If you're playing Final Fantasy 14, you are putting money into it. At that point, you have to have a subscription, and that subscription costs money. And if I was to take a season pass that gets me through a year of content, and take your game, a play pass that gets you through a year of content, who's spending more money? That's almost a legitimate question because I don't know anymore. It was at one time when I was playing the game, if I remember right, I was spending about, I'm trying to remember here, it was a good deal of cash and I bought them 3 months, so I bought like a 3-month pass, but I remember dropping enough cash that by the end of the year, I think I was $140 to anywhere from $140 to $180 invested. That's over the course of an entire year. But you could invest $100 in your fighting game and get a bunch of new costumes that just are goofy, fun, ridiculous things that you now have in your game, and you can wear the costumes and goof around every now and then. I don't see that there's too much difference depending on what kind of person you are. I will wake up and play Dead or Alive for 6 hours. I will do that. I can do that. I have done that. I have sat down in the morning when I woke up and played Dead or Alive and played Dead or Alive and played Dead or Alive. And it has been the only game that I have played for literally an entire sitting, an entire day. I've done that. That's real. I can do that. And I know people that can do it with their MMOs. I don't see that there's too much difference. It's just a difference in the way that me and you game as people. Good thing? Bad thing? Doesn't matter thing. I would say it's a doesn't matter thing. Guys, in an hour of going back to this game, I seen a lot. I did a lot. I went through the story campaign 3 times. It only took me 10 minutes per campaign, sometimes shorter, to be fair. I played 2 rookies to get my footing, went to normal, and then the one that I didn't record, because I just felt like doing it, I went down to the top of the difficulty, the ultra hard difficulty, and I played that, and I got wrecked for a little while. It probably took me about 22 minutes. I'm a little rusty. I haven't played Dead or Alive in probably nearing half a year or more now, because everybody that I used to play with has kind of left, because I'll admit I was very good. There was probably only about 2 people in the group that could actually play against me, and so then I kind of went to online for a while, and I got tired of every now and then I found somebody that would fight me, and I could lose to them a couple of times and then kind of get on their level and then start playing with them, and then I would beat them, and then they would get mad and they would leave. That happened to me a lot of times. And then other times, sometimes I would win and that person would leave because they were happy just to get their win. And then other times I would win one time and they were just gone. They were done. Or I'd come close to winning and they'd pull the connection. I don't like to play online. I like to play with people that are in the room with me. And because of that, the game did suffer a little bit. And it's hard for me to justify spending $40 to play it again, but I do already own this game. And will I play this game again? Yes. In fact, I would argue that if this game went on sale, I would probably get it again for my computer, just so that I could play it up here. I'm gonna be honest, I would probably justify that purchase. I know it about myself. So guys, I played this game for an hour, and I would most definitely play it again. That's what I have to say about Dead or Alive 5, and you could check it out for yourself for free. Let me get out of here.
I have spoken. Take what you will from it.